Good to see some familiar faces. Thank you to our local media for coming down here and being with us. I know that's a trip. Grateful to the bowl people. I mean, that's not a cliche here at the Liberty Bowl. There's a lot of tradition, a lot of great people who work here and really take an interest in the well-being of our team. And the police escort, by the way, has to be the best. I thought maybe it was Dallas, but I think Memphis has that beat now. So a great experience for our team and for our players. A lot to do in the city, and I think our guys are really enjoying the time here. And, looking at the game as an opportunity, particularly defensively, for us to take our production to the next level. It's been an up and down year for us as a defense, and installing a lot of new concepts and facing Big 12 offenses has been a 2-step forward, 1-step back process, but going against I think a Big 12 type offense from the SEC is a real challenge for our defense and an opportunity for us to, send our seniors out with a great feeling of accomplishment, but also for our returning players to put together what they've learned in the system and use it as we springboard into next year. So our players have really bought in. They've worked hard. We've had great practices. Got a chance to work a lot of the young guys and got a chance to go good on good, against our offense, which is always a challenge because we have a great offense and a great offensive system. So as much as we could go against them in the bowl practices, I thought that was a good thing, and that's going to help our defense in the long run. The offense that we're playing is very good. Not just in numbers, but in depth at the running back position, and depth at the tight end position, and depth at the wide receiver position. And the quarterback is outstanding. He basically reads the defense on every play and has the ability to find the weakness. Every defense has a weakness, and I think that's what the RPO game has really exposed, and that's why you're seeing so many points and so many yardage, because all defenses have a spot, and the job of the defense coordinator is to try to hide that spot, move it around, show it here, but really have it be somewhere else. And the quarterback we're facing has the ability to find that weakness and take advantage of it, no matter what the play is. So that's where, when you hear RPO, it's because there's something else going on entirely different from where the ball ends up. And when you have a trigger man who can do that, who can run essentially five different plays at once, it makes it challenging. But we're looking forward to it because, like I said, it's been an up and down year, and we want to finish on a strong note and continue to improve our defensive culture.
Questions? Questions, please.
Jim, you mentioned the challenges of installing your offense this year and it being an up and down year. Were there any unexpected challenges going with the slate of Big 12 offenses for the first time for you?
No, I can't, although it is definitely a form of insanity to be a defense coordinator in the Big 12. I can't claim insanity. I knew exactly what I was getting into. But like anything, when you see it from afar, it's a lot easier to watch on film than it is to actually experience close up. And so the reality of it had a big impact on me, and I know will give me a lot to work on in the off season.
When you talk about the adjustments you had to make, especially mid-season, kind of going a little bit more basic, what steps have you seen your secondary in particular take since that point and even through bowl practice?
We've got a lot of guys coming back in our secondary, and I think that's a really good thing, because this defense is driven by the safeties and by the corners and the matchups. And I've seen our secondary embrace the competition, again, get even more comfortable playing close to receivers, which is what we really want them to do, but to also understand the weaknesses of the defense, where the ball is going to go, and for us to have some answers, they need to know it, not me. So they've come to learn our answers in terms of when we want to double cover somebody or do something with a bracket or a high-low. They're much more comfortable doing that now.
How important were these bowl practices for that young secondary?
You just can't, you can't watch enough film. You can't talk enough about defensive football in this current age of where we're at with the game. You have to play. You have to play. So things go so fast, and even if I want to change something as a defense coordinator, there's no time to think. They have to know it. It's got to be in their blood. It's got to be ingrained in them. The only way you do that is repetition. And repetition against a good offense, a great offense, and a great system, which we have at Oklahoma State. So, yeah, those bowl practices, it's not just about making the bowl, which, our program has a tremendous tradition now, one of the best in the country, but it's actually about the practices that allow your young players to develop, particularly in a new defensive system.
Coach, when you refer to Missouri having a Big 12 offense out of the SEC, is that mainly about the RPO game, or is it their structures and formations, things do look familiar?
Everything looks familiar. Everything looks familiar. And it's more about, and like you said, it is about the RPO game, but which entails versatility. So it's about having the ability to exploit the defense and not be locked into, a certain play or a certain read. That's what the Big 12 is. The Big 12 is, hey, we don't care what play was called. The weakness of the defense is over here, so we're going to go after you there. And that's how the Missouri offense is built too. That's what really is similar.
Derek, with Grant, what type of looks are you expecting from the Missouri offense?
What type of looks am I expecting? Is that it? I think they're going to give us a lot of max protection with the ability for the quarterback to take advantage of matchups with their receivers. I think they're going to give us a lot of the run pass option, like I said, and that's everything's driven through the quarterback. So he seems to, at least watching him, have the ability to make any play or any throw. He has an NFL arm, and he can make any play or any throw out of whatever they have called. It really doesn't matter what they have called. He's that good and has an understanding of the game that he can do it himself. He can take the game on his shoulders and get the ball to his playmakers.
We talked about after the TCU game about this defense has struggled at times to force turnovers this year. What has to happen this offseason for guys to be in better position for that next year?
they just have to learn the defense and the fundamentals of playing defensive football within this structure. Because, you know, we practice a lot at takeaways, and we have over the years, and I think all coaches do. But why do some have more than others? You know, and it's the players being in the right place at the right time, and not having to think about the defense, but being able to focus more on getting the ball without having to think, am I in the right spot? Am I doing the right thing? Well, when they've done it enough times, they are in the right spot, they are doing the right thing, and they can focus on getting the ball.
How important have guys like Justin Phillips and Magruder and Brailford been to this defense this year, with you being in your first year and them being the veterans?
Can't thank them enough. You know, I wish I could have helped them get more wins, but I'm glad. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to fight with them for one last game, because they've been good to me. They've done everything that I've asked them to do, and you know, have embraced change, and it hasn't been easy. But they've been right next to me, you know, as great leaders, and you know, I want to do everything I can to make sure they have a great finale.
How often are you able to watch a guy in practice and sort of you see right away what you were just sort of saying, the guy's thinking about where he needs to be more than he's reacting?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, that's what I see, and that's my job. You know, when I watch practice, I try to stand in the back, and you know, you're trying to get all 11 players in your frame, because you can watch film and you can see off of film mistakes, but you can't feel what that guy's feeling unless you're right there with him, you know. And some guys, you know, are naturally good at playing defense and being comfortable. And I think we have some of those guys, particularly at the safety position. You know, like I knew Jarek was going to be a good player right away, just from what you're talking about, just from trying to stand next to him as the play went on. And Peel and McAllister, I think we have 3 true freshman safeties that are going to be able to operate in this defense and be very good, because of what you said. They have a feel for the game that comes naturally to them.
With Tanner McAllister, he was a corner for quite a while. What made you comfortable with making that move for him?
You know, the matchup, people putting, you know, really good receivers into the slot. You know, you need to have safeties that are corners, you know, and corners who also have the ability to get involved in the run game and blitz, do those things, and he showed that right away. I mean, he has a real natural competitive streak in him, and he doesn't flinch, you know. To me, that's what it's all about in today's game. People say, look for the ball, don't look for the ball. Because you get so many one-on-one matchups that, to me, it's about not flinching at the end. Because that's how many, you know, how so many interference penalties come right at the end of the play, you know. So you got to have guys that aren't going to flinch, that are going to stay right there, right next to the guy, and put their hands in his hands or put their body on his body, and not panic, you know. And I saw that in McAllister. I see it in Jarek and Peel too. So I think there are 3 guys that we've identified that can really help us in the future.
When you have a season where the team plays its best against the best teams on the schedule, and then slips up other weeks, do you look at that as an encouraging sign, or as a coach you more frustrated? Or is it half full, glass half full, half empty kind of deal?
You know, it's consistency. I think is what you're always looking for as a coach. It's what I'm looking for, is consistency. You know, I don't view one opponent different than another, and I know in the media, yes, and there are certain games and certain ranked opponents, but that's not the way that I coach. We talk about habits and doing it all the time, and that everything matters. Everything matters. So, you know, I don't know if half full or half empty, just half. You know, and half isn't good enough. You know, half is half, and we want to continue to get better by improving our habits all off season, all spring, all camp, and just the way that we do things, and everything matters, and every opponent matters, and every game is the same, and every play is the same, and that's, you know, what's happened with offensive football now. I mean, it's like the old cliche of one play at a time. It's one play at a time. You better stop them on that play. You know, doesn't matter who you're playing or what offense it is. The plays are all the same, and we have to fight them one play at a time.
Do you see this game as an opportunity to lay a foundation or springboard you into next season, or is that something that's more?
No, absolutely. You know, it's one last chance for us to compete with these seniors, who I said I'm grateful for, this group of guys, and to go against a great offense and to show what we know and how we compete, and yes, a good performance does carry, you know, it gives you momentum as you go into the off season, for sure.
Anything else for Coach? Very good.
Thank you.